Coach, thank you for joining us on the call this morning.
Hey, Chuck, how you doing? It's kind of hard to hear you, but, it's great to be back, great to hear your voice. We're excited. Felt like we had a really good off season. We started back with our first workout on January 16th. Had our first fourth quarter on February 27th, which, some guys call it mat drills or whatever you want to call it. Started our spring ball and spring practices March 20th, and we just finished last week. Felt really good about it. Felt like we made a lot of progress in, all three phases, offensively, defensively, and special teams, and able to identify some young guys, and older guys got better. Now we're in the recruiting phase, so our coaches are in and out of the office. Spring recruiting now for the next 6 weeks. Our players are getting their grades right and passing some of their military requirements, swimming and different things. I know there's no other teams in the country that are working on their backstroke right now, but it's part of who we are. And so I like where we're at this point. I like where we're at. Felt it's been I like our senior leadership. My two captains, Daryl Bonner and DJ Palmore, have done a really good job in the 4 months of leading our team. I like the senior leadership and that they picked to lead our team. And we'll just go in summer and go to work, and, we'll see what happens this season.
Okay, we'll open to questions for Coach Niumatalolo. Hit *1 on your telephone keypad. That will put you in the queue. Then the operator will introduce you.
And our first question, we'll hear from Dan Tortora with WakeUpCallDT.com.
Good morning, Coach. How are you?
Dan, always good to hear from you, man.
Yeah, good to hear from you, too. I know you brought up your senior leadership, and I just wanted to have you speak on the veterans of this team and just kind of how they've led spring ball and what you've taken away from them.
Well, like I said, I think with, starting on defense with DJ Palmore, Micah Thomas, guys, those are seniors that have played a ton of football for us, and they've done a really good job. Jarvis Polu, the junior, he's played a ton of football for us, and I think he's done a really good job. We've had guys in the secondary, Alohi Gilman and Sean Williams are two younger guys, but two veteran players that have played for us. I've liked what I've seen from them. On the offensive side of the ball, up front, Evan Martin, be a returning starter, one of our best offensive linemen. He's done a really good job of trying to teach the culture of our football program and the way we play up front. In the wide receiver spot, Brandon Colon is a senior that's played a ton of football for us. He's coming back. He's one of the guys vying for the spot to fill the void left by Jameer Tillman, our real good receiver last year. And Daryl Bonner, he's been one of our best A-backs last year, big plays. He's our senior captain and offensive captain. Zach Abey, obviously coming back as our quarterback, got pressed into action last year because of injury to, both of our two starters prior to that, and Thomas Smith and Will Worth. And, he's had a good off season. He's got to continue to work. Coach Jasper, our offensive coordinator, quarterback coaches, I know do a great job of getting him ready for the season. And, that's kind of where we're at, and, away we go.
And then as far as kind of away from your program, Wichita State joining in all sports, but they obviously don't have a football team, and there was that message from Navy, will be your football team kind of a nice welcoming, just what you can say about seeing the conference grow, and even though you're not going to see it in football, just what it means to have another well-respected university that'll be there.
Well, obviously they're really good basketball program. We're excited to have them in a conference. Obviously, it helps our basketball conference, our whole product of our AAC conference. It only helps. Their track record speaks for itself. They've won. They've won for many years. They're an established program, and I know it's exciting to have them in our conference.
Thanks, Coach. I appreciate it.
All right, thank you.
And next we'll move on to Matt Marshall with Orlando Sentinel.
Coach, how are you doing this morning?
Hey, Matt, how you doing?
Pretty good. You mentioned recruiting a little bit with your guys being out on the road. I wanted to get kind of your thoughts on the new early signing period that was just approved by the council and how you think it could help or maybe, be a detriment when it comes to recruiting for you guys.
Well, I think there's always pros and cons to everything, and I look at it from the positive side. I think for us, from a recruiting standpoint, it kind of clears the picture for us. Kind of the top of the food chain guys will, take their guys, and then we kind of see what's left over and the guys that haven't signed. So it kind of clears the picture up not only for the schools, but it also clears the picture up for the prospects, the student athletes, because sometimes guys, schools will say, hey, we have a scholarship for you. Just wait on us. We have something, we'll let you know soon. But this kind of stuff will clear it up for everybody because they'll say, wait a minute, that school already signed, 3 offensive linemen or whatever the case may be. So I think it clears it up for prospects, for schools like ourselves. The other side of it, obviously, and I know some high school coaches aren't too excited about it because it just picks up the recruiting even earlier, as far as when, get to have contact with their student athletes in high school. And, a lot of high school coaches that you talk to feel like it's a circus as it is right now and just makes it worse. But like I said, I try to look at it on the positive side. Hopefully it helps the student athlete decide their school earlier on. You don't have all these, signing day, parade shows, on signing date. And, it's not that much of a spectacle where it's more of, people can sign and move on and coaches and players, student athletes can figure out, what the landscape of the recruiting landscape is.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
All right. Thank you.
And next we'll move on to Garen Emick with Tulsa World.
Coach.
How you doing? Good morning.
I'm good, thanks. Just a quick question. Are you open at all to the idea that Northern Illinois' athletic director put out last bowl season about a separate playoff scenario for the group of 5?
No, and I wasn't, I'd heard when I came out. I didn't really know who said it, but, obviously speaking for themselves and stuff, definitely not, that's not something that we would be interested in at all. Guys, it's America. You can express your opinion and what you believe, but we're definitely not for that.
Is that because it just would be a bad look in terms of competitiveness, or what turns you off about that, if you don't mind me asking?
No, I just think a lot of things. I just, this is Division I football. It's competitive. When you compete, you don't ever set out. It's hard to win. It's hard to do a lot of things. But I don't think any program sets out to win. If you go to the Olympics, you don't set out to win the bronze medal or get a consolation prize.
Sure.
You're trying to compete with the best. Now, is it realistic? I don't know. I guess it's more my nature. I know there's other logistical things that doesn't make sense. I just don't like the thought of it. I'm just a competitive person. If you're going to play, play for everything. If you don't win, you don't win. I think sometimes we've gotten into an age of, in our society where everybody has to get a prize and everybody has to be rewarded. This isn't, elementary flag football. Not everybody gets a prize, and it's the way it is. And so I kind of like that mentality. It's a personal deal on my side, but if you're going to play, play for everything. If you win, you win. If you don't, you don't.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
We have time for one more for Coach Niumatalolo, please.
All right. We'll move on to Al Myatt with Bonesville.net.
Good morning, Coach.
Good morning. How you doing?
Good. Coach, I was going to ask you about the signing date situation, but that question has been asked. But you're the most veteran coach, I think, in the league now, and there's been a lot of transition. And talk about the value of continuity for your program.
Well, I think that definitely helps if you got some stability. There's some familiarity with your players. terminology, expectations, your culture, certain things. So I definitely believe it helps if there's continuity in your staff as you try to develop your teams, that, you kind of know each other. You've been through games before. You know what to expect from each other. It is kind of weird just thinking about it. I think 3 years ago, I believe, was my first AAC meeting. And I was just thinking about, from that original meeting that I went to, I would be the only guy that still was in that meeting, that first original meeting. And so it's a volatile profession. And all of us got into it, understand that. Some guys, were able to go to some Power 5 schools, which are great for them. But we definitely feel like having stability, definitely helps our program, and hopefully we can continue on and, have a good year in 2017.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Coach, thanks so much for your time today. Enjoy the off season. Look forward to connecting with you again in the summer.
All right, Chuck. See you later. Thank you. Bye-bye.